Good morning. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
A person in a motorized wheelchair suffered minor injuries after getting hit by a car in Brookings over the weekend. Police say it happened just before 7 o'clock Saturday night in between the 1200 and 1500 blocks of Main Avenue South.
The car was northbound when it hit the motorized wheelchair heading south in the same lane. Authorities say the car then left the scene. The driver of the car was found and arrested for hit and run, vehicular battery, assault on law enforcement, and DUI. Investigators in Brookings County are looking into what sparked a fire at a business last week. The sheriff's office says it happened just after 5 o'clock Friday night at a shop on 455th Avenue near 204th Street. Firefighters from 8 agencies responded to the scene.
Authorities say the shop had a semi-truck, tools, other vehicles, and shop equipment. The damage to the building is estimated at $100,000, while the damage to the trucks and equipment is estimated at $200,000. We're learning more about an explosion that sent molasses across northwestern Huron Monday. The Huron Fire Department says it happened just after 4:30 a.m. at Dakota Land Feeds. The top of the rail car blew off, ripping tin siding off of the building and coating the property in molasses. Huron Fire Chief Ron Hines says the building is structurally sound and that no one was hurt.
Molasses from the rail car was found on U.S. Highway 14 and Old Highway 14 East. Due to the wind, fallout molasses went as far south as 3rd Street and Lincoln Avenue Southwest. Digital reporter Gracie Terrell has more information on the sticky situation in a KELOLAND.com original online now.
Now let's get a check of our weather with meteorologist Scott Muntz, celebrating a possible return to the teens today, Scott.
Yeah, you excited? Fire up that grill?
Oh, yeah.
All right. We are looking at numbers above zero, covering all of KELOLAND, returning to the teens, parts of eastern South Dakota. We will see teens near 20 degrees for highs in central KELOLAND, and we do have 20s going across the west. We are looking at snow chances, flurries, snow showers, especially late today, western, south, central South Dakota. Everybody has snow in their forecast for tomorrow. Looks like in general, I would say 1 to 3 inches of snowfall. Next week, warmer temperatures will begin our January thaw. More details on your KELOLAND Live Doppler forecast coming up.
Thank you, Scott. Well, winter has made its presence felt over the past week, dumping 15 inches of snow on Sioux Falls.
City crews continue the cleanup, but the sub-zero temperatures are taking a toll on the equipment. A motor grader typically needs a new cutting edge about every 12 hours, but the extreme cold can make the metal brittle.
If they hit something a little bit harder than just your average pavement or whatever it's running over, those tend to shatter instead of just wear. So that kind of makes replacing cutting edges a little bit more frequent because they just shatter out.
Crews have been working 12-hour days since the start of the storm. Corbin tells us how employees are handling the long hours with this story on KELOLAND.com. The winter spell isn't slowing down the efforts of one Sioux Falls program to ensure over 600 people have access to a warm meal.
Meals on Wheels relies heavily on its volunteers to pack and deliver meals every day. They deliver to people 60 and older who are homebound, but many volunteers say it's more than just delivering food.
It's a pleasure to talk to these people because I might be the only one they see in a day, you know, and it's a welfare check.
More than 500 meals were delivered on Tuesday. A bill currently making its way through the South Dakota legislature could help the tribal reservations of the state get more infrastructure needs met.
House Bill 1041, sponsored by Republican Representative Tyler Tordson, would modify the definition of public infrastructure to allow a federally recognized Indian tribe to be eligible for housing infrastructure grants and loans.
House Bill 1041 is actually a cleanup from Senate Bill 41 last year, which was the Housing Infrastructure Finance Program in the state. So a $200 million loan and grant program to help improve housing infrastructure projects across the state.
Tordson says there's an emergency clause on the bill, meaning if it makes it to the governor's desk and she signs it, the bill would go into effect immediately instead of on July 1st.
Let's look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, our weather update here. Well, let's take a look at what's going on with the latest here on this forecast. And a couple of things here. Number one, we're going to be dealing with some decent weather today. You know, temperatures in the teens and 20s. We'll certainly take that here into consideration. I will tell you right now, though, as we get into our forecast, we'll kind of jump ahead here. Look at the west here. We do have a little bit of light snow, maybe sneaking into the southwest corner of South Dakota here tonight. I'm going to say right now, the vast majority of us here in the forecast will see some snow tomorrow. Is it going to be a lot? No, probably not here in the forecast, but a 1 to 3 inch snow. I mean, that's still enough that you'll have to pay attention to it. And as it comes down tomorrow, it's going to slicken up the roads. I think that with a scenario like this, when you're in town and you're in a more sheltered area, you know, it can come down and just coat those roads with that extra greasy type snow. Doesn't take a lot of that. And yeah, you just kind of have to be aware of traction issues. In the countryside, there'll be some blowing snow. We're not forecasting the kind of wind that we had last weekend. So let's hope we can contain that a little bit, but we also have to be mindful. Rapid City could easily see 25 to some gusts close to 50, 45, maybe out in the far west for a brief time. It's just not going to sustain itself for a long period there. How about the system as a whole? Well, there it comes. You can see it diving into Nebraska, and as it comes through, it's going to latch on to another piece of cold air. In fact, this center of high pressure, as it comes on in, look what it does here. Really plummets our temperatures down in the 20s below zero in Sioux Falls on Saturday morning. I know, not looking forward to that, but the change next week is going to be interesting. We're going to be forecasting an active storm track to our south, but that could, at least right now, get us back into some rain chances for parts of the region. So that's an interesting story. I'm sure there'll be more on that in the days ahead. Look where we end here on our 7-day forecast. We're in the 30s, and I think we're very on firm foundation here for the lows that could come up into the 30s next week. So it's going to be quite the change in the weather. Aberdeen also, we get out of the deep freeze here starting on Saturday. One final note on the cold. As we get into Saturday, there will be a return flow out of the south, and that wind Saturday night into Sunday could create some more blowing snow. So that's kind of the exit strategy out of this. I know we can't quite get out of this without another chunk of cold and at least the effects of all of this. But the bottom line is next week, when you look at Pierre, we're in the 30s. I feel very strongly about western South Dakota getting back to at least upper 40s, if not the 50s. So that's the kind of weather coming. Check out the details online at KELOLAND.com.